Well, we know for certain that there was a terrorist attack in a suburban city of Moscow region. We know that many people were killed. Um, and we know that certain suspects have been arrested by the Putin regime and are claimed to be responsible. We all know that an offshoot of Islamic State has claimed responsibility and also provided horrific video in a follow up to it. We know that Tajik nationals were arrested by the Putin regime and tortured. And we also know that the Putin regime is blaming Ukraine for this. So this is what we know. That this attack was made about 12 hours after a massive terrorist attack by Russia on civilians and civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. In particular, an attempt to destroy the hydroelectric dam at Dnipro and cause a second environmental humanitarian catastrophe by flooding the Dnieper River. And the timing of it is to turn the page from that. We're not talking about Dnipro. We're not talking about the strike that was made in Kharkiv so that it is without power, or now it's under power blackouts and so on. So we're not talking about these terrorist attacks, and we're talking about this.
Um, So I spend a lot of my time on American propagandists. um, uh, learning what they're doing, and hopefully trying to expose some of the things that they do. Um, Immediately, the entire right, or a very large section of the right wing, jumped on top of Putin's lies that it was Ukraine that perpetrated this massacre in Moscow, despite the fact that everyone knows that ISIS had taken credit for it, et cetera, et cetera. So personally, um, given Putin's record, and he has a record of murdering his civilians in the hundreds in order to capture power. Um, you know, uh, somebody is going to have to prove to me that it wasn't Vladimir Putin. Like that's just that. It, every single thing I've seen lines up. What Putin needed, at least in my view, was a rationalization to go to a total war, sort of Machiavellian scenario with his population. Um, and the thing that I'm not sure about yet is, how much of that move, assuming it was a move, was, out of desperation to kind of keep control of his population, or whether he is planning on something uglier and more aggressive, and needs a rationalization for it. It can always be both, but um, you know, to me, it fills both needs. I'm just worried that between the obvious um, intentional organization, coordination, and incitement of a large white nationalist sort of paramilitary cult out there, in America, it concerns me and all the various talk of black swans and all this shit, that they are planning some kind of uh, scenario that both sets us back in America, and also wield some kind of blow over in Ukraine. What mystifies me is that our intelligence services can warn Putin ahead of time that a terrorist attack was happening on his soil. But they refuse to warn Americans that we're being attacked by Putin's information war. All day, every single day, I track it constantly.
Yeah.
And I know it's not necessarily your expertise, but I'm very curious what your thoughts are about why our government, our intelligence community, our military refuses to recognize this threat for what it is, which is a very deeply dangerous, subversive psychological warfare campaign that has, in my view, captured somewhere around a third of the country. And I don't understand why we haven't warned, explained, or pushed
Mm.
back in any way on this, at least in my
Mm.
view.
Well, I don't know it in as much detail as you are. It's not my particular focus, and
I
so,
know.
but I can't help but look at it in a broader perspective. I've as in in my life, I've grown to admire so much about the United States, and one of them is how the United States has managed to um, successfully institutionalize ideas about liberty and so on, and build a enduring democratic institutions to sustain that. And that's been incredibly admirable. And a kind of ingrained tolerance, things like freedom of speech and so on. But the consequence of that is the United States has historically been really bad at dealing with actual treason. And and because it just can't fit somehow. And you thought that's very surprising because it's such a patriotic country with such a national feeling. And don't forget, national feeling in the United States is based on ideas. It's not based
Yeah.
on ethnicity. Oh,
Yeah.
we all are from the same ethnic group. That's not the United States at all. It's always been the nation of ideas, which is why the American dream is written in capital letters, and there's been successful, and it's just so bad at treason.
It's incredible. Like so we had this whole like Black Swan's been trending all over the fucking universe for days now, right? And I'll give you one reason: Mike Flynn. Dude, since last August, has been pushing that meme into the Quniverse every single time the motherfucker gets on anything. And he got that thing going in August, and for progressively over time, it has gotten more and more sort of embedded in people's minds. And then all of a sudden, the thing goes bonkers because of Baltimore. Flynn has the most viral tweet on the planet about it, and everybody totally fucking misses it. Everybody misses it. The one place that wrote about Flynn at all used a disinformation agent as their source.
Oh my God.
It's a fucking mess. Uh, just to point out that there was a huge terrorist attack on Ukraine's infrastructure
Mm-hmm.
12 hours before the terror attack that happened in Moscow at, by the way, Trump's buddies fucking the same place where the 2013 Miss Universe pageant was held. Same exact theater.